Hello and welcome to Chuck's Culture Channel, your YouTube home for lively conversation on the lively arts in St. Louis and beyond. And my guest this time around is playwright Lila Rose Kaplan. We're talking about her comedy drama, We All Fall Down, which is getting its regional premiere at New Jewish Theater here in St. Louis through June 16th, 2024. For more information, check out the video description field below. We All Fall Down is the story of Linda and Saul Stein, who still live in the Westchester home where they raised their two beautiful daughters. But when Saul unexpectedly retires, Linda summons the family to celebrate Passover for the first time in decades. Linda is highly theatrical, the family is highly secular, and the resulting gathering is not what anyone expected. All right, so as promised, here I am with playwright Lila Rose Kaplan, and I guess this must be an exciting day for you because we're recording this on the opening day of your play, We All Fall Down, here in St. Louis. I know this much about the play. I mean, I know it's described as a family comedy / drama about the holiday party from hell. In this case, it's a Seder. And I guess, how does this differ from, or does it differ from what all holiday family gatherings are like when they go wrong?
You know, what I love about this play is it's a family coming together to participate in an ancient ritual, but they don't really know how to do it. And so it's this wonderful moment of different generations for different reasons being in the room, everyone with their own secrets and their own agendas. But there's this common goal. It's almost like they're putting on a play, except it's a Seder. And they've been raised to not really believe in religion. So for me, what makes it unique is this idea of how do ancient rituals, why do they matter now? And how can we use them to come together? Especially, I feel like the world is so isolated right now.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about this play is, it is at its heart a Jewish play that's about Passover. But the number of people who come up to me from all different backgrounds, saying, how did you write about my family? I think there's something very universal about this idea of wanting to know more about your culture or not knowing why your mom cares so much about all the different things. And how do you cook the thing? And why are we reading it this way? But really at our heart, it's how can we meet in this room together and connect?
But now this is a particular holiday gathering that basically comes out of nowhere for some of the characters, right?
Right. So the idea is that this family, the Steins, the mom, Linda, raised her girl to be very intellectual, very Marxist, very organized religion is the root of all evil and wars in the world. And then suddenly they're in their 20s and she wants to have a Seder. So it's very confusing for them. And she gathers, their father is there, they're together still. There's the aunt, there's the neighbor, her assistant is there, and everyone is confused. And so it's a great beginning because this powerful woman has summoned them, but no one knows why. And so it's sort of a mystery in that way. And as the play unfolds, I don't wonder in the end, you learn a lot of complex and interesting things about all of them and why they're there.
And I understand there's a lot of give and take between daughters and mothers here. That's a major theme, I guess.
Absolutely. You should talk to my therapist about that. But there is, I think, daughters and mothers is such a unique relationship. And, a lot of the plays we have about Judaism in American theater are more about fathers and sons. Something that makes this play very unique is that it focuses on this mother and her two daughters and how they relate to each other and how they relate to the family. I started this play almost 10 years ago. And since I started, I've become a mother, which is a very interesting perspective shift.
Oh.
And while this play isn't exactly autobiographical, it is informed by my life and my family. And so I don't know, it's very powerful to come back to this play right now in such a different place in my life and love it and appreciate different things about it than I used to.
What was the direct inspiration for this? I mean, what made you want to start writing We All Fall Down?
So I went to a Seder at my mom's house that was not this Seder, but was an equivalent Seder in terms of, a number of what I at that time would call the real Jews did not come, a little bit of the blind leading the blind. And at the beginning of the night, I was like, why are we even here? What are we doing? And people were complaining that we were having a Seder. Other people were complaining there was no Hebrew and the Haggadah. There was this range of, nobody quite thought it was what it should be. And yet by the end of the night, something powerful had transpired. And I think that always stayed with me And it was also very, very funny. I mean, a lot of my plays are comedies, and there was just like, the only person who spoke Hebrew was my mom's Belizean assistant who had converted to Judaism. Like, there were just all of these layers that, like, if no one would believe they were real. And in fact, sometimes I get questions from actors working on a show being like, "Well, why would she say this?" I'm like, "It happened." But I think what I came away with was some, frustration at my family, but also the sense of wonder that this gathering had happened. And I told my now husband about it when I got home, and I told him the whole story as like a funny night because he wasn't able to come. And he was like, "This is a play." I was like, "This is not a play." He was like, "This is a play." And we were flying somewhere, and he was like, "Just write the first scene." And I started writing, and I was like, "Oh, this is a play." Okay. So that's how it began. But a lot of my writing is about mothers and daughters. And I think I really love the journey the mother and the two daughters take in this play. And I'm excited for people to get to see it because I think it resonates with a lot of different generations.
And that's a relationship that I think doesn't get investigated or hasn't been enough in theater in general. We have so many plays about fathers and sons and so many family dramas and comedies that concentrate on them, but we don't have nearly enough.
Or I think they do have this kind of like stereotype of the Jewish mother. Maybe it's on TV too. And, Linda comes in strong, and I think she might fit some people's idea of that stereotype, but I really love that we get to spend time with her and peel away some of her layers and realize that her intensity comes from a really genuine and amazing place. So
one of the things I'm also hearing here is that the play is to some extent about how simply coming together, simply getting together in a gathering communally is all by itself. It doesn't need an external justification in a sense. It's an important and healing thing all by itself, just that ceremonial aspect.
I think so. I mean, especially after COVID. I mean, I wrote this before COVID, but I mean, what's been a little wild for me is that the premiere of this play happened at the Huntington Theater in Boston, and it closed like February 23rd, 2020. So it was like the play closed and then the world closed a few weeks later. And so there's something very beautiful about revisiting this play now and thinking like, oh, it means so much to gather right now. We couldn't gather, and then we could gather with all these rules. And I think we're all just starting to exhale some. So I do think it's powerful to gather. And I think that's part of what these ancient rituals do. And it's also what theater does. Theater is something we're all together in a room hearing a story. And there's nothing quite like that.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. What else would you like to touch on about the play? I mean, here I am. I'm an audience member, possibly. I don't know the play. I don't know you. What is it about this that should drag me into the theater and put my butt in a seat to see We All Fall Down?
I mean, I'm a parent. I think, why should I get a babysitter? But I totally understand the question. It's a really funny, really heartwarming play with a great dramatic twist. So I think it you'll laugh a lot. You might cry a little. And you might go home and call your mom afterwards. So I think there's a complexity to it. And I don't know. I think that there's such power in telling complicated stories with big amounts of humor. Like, I think we all need laughter to digest. And so I don't know, if you want to hear a great story and laugh a lot and be moved, I would come see this. And if you have a mother or a daughter, it's also probably would mean something to you.
Okay. Very good. Well, Lila Rose Kaplan, your show will run here in St. Louis until, I don't have a closing date in front of me, but
you can see it over your shoulder. I think it's June 16th.
Yeah. It'll be in the video information field down below here anyway. But what's next for you? Now, you're going to be here in St. Louis through this weekend as we're speaking, but then you're off back home.
Yeah, I have a couple different projects going on right now. I'm working on, this is a little bit of a mouthful. I'm working on a children's play about space for a company in China. So I'm doing this big international collaboration, which has been really an extraordinary experience. And so that's going to happen in about a year in Shanghai, but we're working on the next draft of the play. I'm working on a young adult novel, which I've never written before. And then I have a couple of other plays in process, but those are kind of my two big projects right now.
Okay. You got plenty on the burner, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I keep pretty busy.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me. I know this is a big day for you, so I will stop imposing on your time. But listen, folks, look below here in the video description field for all the information about We All Fall Down at New Jewish Theater. And don't forget to check out all the other episodes of Chuck's Culture Channel on YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, whatever. Lila, thanks so much. Best of luck on the opening night.
Thank you.